Hi, I'm Ree from mummyof4.com. Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I am answering all of your questions all about YouTube. As my channel just reached the 20,000 subscriber milestone, I thought it would be a really good time to answer some of the questions you've got about what goes on behind the scenes in YouTube. This video actually ended up being split into two parts because when I got into editing it, it was so long and I didn't want to miss out any of your questions. So if you haven't seen it yet, you can catch part one just here. If, however, you've already seen part one, here's part two. Enjoy. The next question I've had is how do I actually prepare quotes for brands? Now, something I learned quite early on, and this is quite a difficult one when you're first starting out, is kind of not to talk first when it comes to budget. So generally, if a brand comes to me and asks if I want to work together, it's something I'm interested in, then I ask them for the deliverables, which are just what they'd like me to do and what their budget is, because you can shoot yourself in the foot a little bit. And if you say I will charge you this much for whatever it is and actually they were going to pay you this much, then you can shoot yourself in the foot by opening your mouth and speaking too soon. So what I tend to do is ask for the budget and the deliverables of the campaign, then they come back to me and we work something out. I do have a rate card, so if you're kind of not getting anywhere with asking for the deliverables and the budget and they're really not going to speak first when it comes to money, then I send them a rate card and I just review this every few months. So I put together packages, which are basically, do you want me to just do 3 frames of Instagram stories? Do you want me to do Instagram stories and a grid post? Do you want me to do a YouTube video? Do you want me to do a blog post? Or do you want me to do the whole package? And then obviously if I'm doing the whole package, then there is a little bit of reduction on just doing all of the little separate bits added up, if that makes sense. I also do a reduced rate if I work with a brand over a number of campaigns because it's actually less work. Once you've got a relationship with a brand and you are already using the products, you've already got some content that you can kind of use as B-roll. B-roll, by the way, is just like the little images I'm putting over the screen now of me just doing things. That's B-roll. This is the A-roll where I'm talking to you, and this is B-roll where I'm just doing stuff. So if you've worked with a brand before, you can have little bits of B-roll and things you can use in future footage. It's just a little bit easier and you've already done all the setting up and getting to know them and things, so you can afford to do a little bit of a reduction because you're not taking as much time. What you do have to realise, and I don't think many people realise, is how much goes on behind the scenes when you're doing brand work. So it's not just creating all the videos, it's negotiating with the brand, it's lots of emails back and forth, it's getting things approved, and that's before you actually do the content creation. I don't think many people realise how much goes into content creation. So people watch a 20-minute video on YouTube and think 20 minutes, she does 3 of those a week. What do you do the rest of the week? Well, actually filming takes a lot longer than 20 minutes. Perhaps you say every segment a couple of times and choose your best take. And then once you've filmed it, you've got to import it all to the computer. I use Final Cut Pro for editing. The edit takes quite a long time. And then even after you've uploaded it to YouTube, there's all the bits you've got to do over there, the descriptions, the tags. I do A/B testing on my thumbnails, which thumbnail will perform better. So we've got to create those thumbnails, put them into the A/B testing. I'm aware I'm really glossing over a lot of this, but a lot of these points really I could talk about for an entire video, if not longer. So if there is anything I'm saying in this video that you think, Ree, I need a bit more information on that, let me know in the comments and I will put together a separate video and or blog post to just really deep dive on that topic. For example, my actual video creation process is quite detailed and in-depth and I've got it quite finely tuned. So if you'd like to see a video on that content creation process, do let me know in the comments. Next question, what do you actually have to do every week? At the moment, I do 3 videos on my main channel. I try to do at least 1 blog post. Sometimes it's more and sometimes that doesn't get done, especially at the moment since I've actually been creating 3 videos for my new channel as well. So I've been doing 6 videos a week at the moment, which blows my mind a little bit. It's quite a lot, but we'll figure that out. We will figure that out. I think we'll have to pull it back somewhere along the line. Daily stories on my main Instagram and my Mummy of 4 Does Disney Instagram. And then I create grid posts or reels or sometimes lives, which I turn into IGTVs. And I try to do probably 3 posts, like grid posts on my main Instagram and probably 2 on my Disney Instagram. And then obviously there's the normal business stuff that you have to do, bookkeeping, keeping up with subscriptions, all that kind of thing, software updates, all those bits, and obviously research. So planning for future content and researching whether we need new equipment upgrades or a more efficient way to do something, and also mindset work in order to keep it all together. So those things I do have to do every single week as a content creator, which is why it is very much a full-time job. Next question. How do you get your head around editing? Now, the short answer is trial and error and practice, watching other people's YouTube videos and being self-taught. So I started on iMovie, which you can use on your iPad or your iPhone and is really quite basic to use. I definitely suggest watching some really good tutorials that they have on YouTube that literally show screen recordings of how to do things. So then I did have a laptop, but it was absolutely ancient. So I was editing on my iPad and then I upgraded from iMovie, which comes preloaded, I believe, with iPads and iPhones and things, or certainly that you can download for free from the App Store. And then I upgraded to LumaFusion. So if you are editing just on an iPad and you want a bit more capability, a few more options, that kind of thing, LumaFusion is very good. Then I bit the bullet and realized if I was going to really make this my business, I needed to buy myself an actual laptop, because it was very much at that stage where I needed to take it to the next level. And although you don't need much equipment to start out doing your blog and YouTube and all that kind of stuff, the reality of it is if you need it to be your business, you have to make investments in it. It doesn't have to be all at once and it doesn't have to be a barrier to starting, but you do end up having to invest in order to stay on top of things, to improve your content. So I bought myself a laptop and then I moved over to Final Cut Pro when I relaunched my channel. The laptop was so much easier than the iPad for just doing all the blog work, all the photo editing and things, even before I relaunched my channel. But then Final Cut Pro is what I use for editing. I think this question was about editing. I really am going off on a tangent a lot in this video, aren't I? Sorry guys. Anyway, editing. It's very much a trial and error thing. The more you do it, the better you get at it. I think you have to just accept that your first few videos are not going to be that good. Go and have a look at that reacting to my old videos video and you will see that my first videos are pretty darn shocking, if I'm honest. I'm not going to delete them because I think they are part of my journey and they deserve to live on. And they've got my children in them being so small and cute. But I think you just have to accept that your first videos are not going to be amazing and be okay with that. The hardest thing I probably find about editing is finding the balance, that sweet spot between improving my videos, because I'm always trying to improve the edits. I'm trying to make the editing better and better to improve your audience experience, to increase audience retention, which just means how much you guys are watching the video before you click off. I spend a lot of time looking at my YouTube analytics and I see where there are dips in videos, where there are places that people click off. I figure out what went wrong at that bit and I try and fix it for future videos. So I'm always trying to up level and improve my videos, but if I'm honest, I could spend a week on a video and still not be perfectly happy with it. Done is better than perfect, because if you wait until something is perfect, you will never press upload. So sometimes you've just got to think, right, that's good enough, I'm happy enough with it, and that's kind of the sweet spot where you've got to upload it and move on to the next piece of content. I could literally work around the clock and still never have everything perfect. So it's just kind of, and this is something I struggle with because I am a bit of a recovering perfectionist, then finding that spot where the video is good enough and people are going to enjoy it, but I've not wasted unnecessary time where I could be doing other work or indeed spending time with my family. Do you have a budget dedicated to work with for YouTube work? Now, I'm assuming this means for non-brand work. Obviously, with brand work, you would have a budget and that would be kind of a separate thing. So as in you would be paid a certain amount for a campaign, or you'd be agreed to be gifted an item in return for your work or that kind of thing. But I don't think that's what that question means. I think we've kind of touched on that. I'm assuming this means, do I put aside some of my own money to invest into my channel? Anyway, that's the question I'm going to answer. Yes and no. So I don't have a set amount of money that I'm like, right, I'm allowed to spend that much each week. It doesn't really work like that. I do acknowledge that this is my business, and if I was going to open a shop or whatever it might be, I'm not going to be able to make money without spending money. I do have to acknowledge that several times a year I have to do things like up-level my equipment. You might have seen a video that I shot at the end of last year where I upgraded my camera and my microphones just to improve the sound quality, to improve the visuals. I've upgraded things like lights. You have to be able to replace things when they break. I have got a lot of external hard drives for storage for my data and things, and there are subscriptions that I have to pay for, things like YouTube Buddy, which are amazing, Epidemic Sound, which is where I get all my music from. All of these things are business expenses that I have to pay in order to run my channel. So running the channel before I do any work or make any money does have a monthly cost, and then there are these annual expenses where I upgrade equipment or have to replace things that are broken. But then the other element of it is investing in things for videos. So for example, with my new Disney channel, I've had to invest in buying things in order to do haul videos and to create content for my Disney flat lays, that kind of thing, because in order to launch that channel, I needed to have something to talk about. Now, we are later this summer going on a Disney cruise, so the channel after that, I'll have lots to talk about the Disney cruises. I'll do the vlogs, and then I will be doing all of the tips videos, and I'll have all the B-roll that I shot during the trip in order to use in the videos. But up until that point, obviously I don't have any holiday footage or anything. We've not been to Disney as a family. So what I've been doing is talking about what I've been buying for the trip, but I have been buying additional items. Not sure if it'll be live by the time this video goes out, but I'll add a link when it's live. I've bought from a load of small shops in order to review various items. So it's Disney merchandise from small shops. I've invested in buying some of that stuff in order to make interesting content for my viewers, to really find really lovely things to share with them, but then also things that I'm able to share with affiliate links, so that will actually earn me money. So I do occasionally get some trolling comments, and we will get to trolling as another question, but I do occasionally get people commenting, criticizing me for how much I bought, but I don't think that those people realize that this is my job, and in order to create content, sometimes money has to be spent in order to invest almost as a business expense in creating that content in order to have content to put out into the world, because it's your job. Does that make any sense? So let's get on to the trolling comment. Do I get trolls, and how do I deal with it? Yes, I do get trolls, and how do I deal with it? Now, one of the things that really helped me deal with trolls is realizing that it was not necessarily about me. Now, I'm not going to be everyone's cup of tea. I totally get that. And if you're not repelling some people and attracting other people, you're just being neutral and you're not really even doing your job properly. So I'm fully aware that not everyone is going to be interested in what I've got to say, and I don't expect them to be. However, some analogies that have really helped me. A friend of mine, Katie from What Katie Said, really made a lot of sense when she said that your space online is like your home, and you would not put up with people coming into your home and being rude. So if anyone makes any rude comments on your content, block and delete and move on, which totally makes sense. Your social media platforms are your little corner of the internet. Do not put up with any rubbish from anyone. Do not engage with trolls. Just block and delete. They're like bullies in school, and the more you provoke them, the more ammunition you're giving them. Another thing that really helped me was watching a video where the Saucony Jolies on their podcast channel interviewed one of their biggest trolls, and this woman was going into some chat room, which is like kind of like a Facebook for trolls, which I just never understood why anyone would do this, and I still don't really get it, but it made more sense after she explained it. But basically, she would watch their videos and then she would think of hateful things to say, and she would go into this chat room and say awful hateful things on this forum. And the reason she did it was because other people would then comment on her posts agreeing with her and validating her about these awful things she was saying about these people, and there were some really dreadful things. I will link the video below. It was really quite an eye-opener. But basically, what really hit home was that this woman was obviously apologizing for everything she'd done, and she admitted that at the time she was really, really unhappy in her own life. She identified as a reformed troll, but when she was going through this trolling phase, she had 2 small children, she had no support, she then went through a divorce, ended up living on the streets and then in psychiatric ward. So I think this just made me realize that if anyone is really happy in their own lives, they're not going to have the time or the energy or the desire to go trolling people. They're just not. So someone that is actively out there on the internet hating on people, really what they need is a hug and some help. Trolling awful comments can be really hurtful, especially when they're about things that perhaps you're slightly insecure about yourself. Someone says something like they don't like your cushions, you're just like, so I like them, whatever. But something perhaps you're a bit more sensitive about, like your parenting. I mean, who's not slightly worried that they're not getting it right with parenting? I mean, let's face it, parenting, living hard, right? So someone criticizes your parenting, then those comments obviously cut a lot deeper. But then I think the only advice I can give to myself as much as to you guys is to take a step back, ask where it's coming from. Is this coming from a helpful place? Is this really a true comment, or is this someone just being hateful because they've got something going on in their own lives and they're using you as an awful way to vent? I think perhaps some of the trolling goes on because they don't see people as real people. They almost see them as TV characters that they're open for discussing. I think there's an argument for, well, she puts herself out there, she's brought it on herself. People forget that people on YouTube, online, are just humans and trying their best, that they're sharing as honestly as they can. I try and share as honestly as I can, but you are still only seeing a snippet of their lives, and judging people on that snippet perhaps isn't the kindest thing to do. Anyway, I could do a whole video on that if that's something you want to see, but I hope that's answered that question. Next question. What is your workflow from start to finish? Now this really, I'm going to answer it as quickly as I can, but if you want to see a whole video on this, then let me know and I will put it together. But in short, I come up with a video idea, which are often prompted by questions people send in or comments or something like this, where I'm doing a video and then people would comment below and say, can I see a video expanding on that point? Then I would do research. For that, I use TubeBuddy. I will link to that below. I am an affiliate for TubeBuddy. It's free to join, but if you upgrade, then I would get a commission, full disclosure. I do the research in TubeBuddy before I record. I decide on the title. I make sure that I say the keywords in the title in the video so that YouTube, who is listening to my videos as well as all the things I put in the description, knows that what the video is about. Then after I've filmed the video, I import it to Final Cut Pro, edit the whole thing, upload it to YouTube. I do thumbnails. I do alternate thumbnails to do an A/B test to see which one's going to perform better. I do tags, description, links, end screens, cards, sort the monetization settings, and then it gets scheduled. That process is very long and detailed. Let me know if you want to see an in-depth video on it. What is the most challenging aspect of your job? Ooh. Obviously the trolling comments can be difficult, but I think it's just to do with mindset, because the hardest thing about my job probably is that I don't really know anyone in my real life that does it, and it's just the imposter syndrome. When I got started, my biggest goal was just to be able to call myself a blogger without feeling like a fraud. If I'm honest, I know I do this as my full-time job now. I still do not know what to call myself. When people ask what I do for a living, I kind of go, well, I sort of do YouTube and blogging, and I don't know, it just sounds, blogger sounds, content creator, can't even think about calling myself an influencer, don't like that one. YouTuber kind of makes me sound like I'm 12. I need to figure out what to call myself. I think content creator is probably what I go with most, but then people don't really know what that is. So yes, lack of understanding can definitely be difficult, and explaining it to other people. Even people that watch my channel will still send me comments and asking what I do for a living, and it's like, I do this, and they're kind of surprised by that. It's also quite tricky in that you've got so many options of what you could do. I could make a video about anything under the sun, and it's figuring out which direction I want to take things in and having the confidence to go with that. At the end of the day, I want to make videos that you guys want to see, but it's all a little bit trial and error. So I make videos based on comments I receive from you. I make videos based on things that have done well and expanding on those, but it's just all a little bit trial and error, figure it out as I go along, and that can be quite tricky. And then it really is probably my biggest battle is imposter syndrome. I try really hard to work on my mindset and thinking, right, I can do this and I've got it all under control, and then I have the, oh gosh, I feel like a fraud, or what if it's all going to implode on me moments. So imposter syndrome is definitely, I don't think this is exclusive to people on YouTube, one of my biggest struggles. And how do I stay motivated, especially with getting up early? Now this is definitely a topic for a full video, so would you like to see that video on how I stay motivated? Let me know in the comments. If you have liked this video, please give it a massive thumbs up. Do not forget to subscribe and hit that bell to be notified whenever I post new videos. There are more videos you may enjoy all around me. I shall see you guys very soon.